Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I am so thankful I get to be here and help hopefully pour into you guys and talk about batching and the importance of that. I'll give you kind of an example of how this is so helpful in my life. As recently as a couple months ago, some things have shifted in my life and how this has come into play even more. But I want to start us off with some gratitude, and I'm going to give you a little quick story because it really rooted me in how much I need to make sure that I'm appreciative of the things that I have. So there's a woman that's local to me, and she came into the bank that I work at, and she's struggling with some things going on in her family. First of all, her husband has brain cancer. He's currently in remission, so they've been dealing with that for a long period of time. But probably a month ago, we had some super high wind storms that came through, and it blew down a big tree in their yard, so that they had this beautiful tree house built for their children. And so that was all wrecked. And I was like, oh man, I feel so bad. Like, they're already going through all this with her husband having brain cancer, and he struggles with like cognitive abilities and stuff like that. And then she was telling me when she came in that they had a fire in their house. Her husband had came home, put something on top of the stovetop, and the dog hit a knob and it started on fire. And it just had me thinking, how insignificant the problems that I complain about every day are in reality, and how grateful I am that I have a healthy family, and that we have our home intact, and that by the grace of God that we haven't had any big issues in our home. And I think sometimes the world will tell you that you always need to be focusing on what you don't have, and always wanting more. And I feel like sometimes when we're constantly focusing, like, yes, it's important for you to strive for things and to have goals and to improve as a human. I believe, like, you don't want to stay stagnant, because stagnant water just becomes gross. And have you ever left a cup out for a long period of time with water in it? It gets nasty. And we don't want to be that type of person where we just stay in the same place and we want to grow. But also, we can't be so focused on the things that we don't have all the time, because it can have us feeling like we're lacking or we're not important, or it can stir up feelings of jealousy within us and have us feeling like we're inadequate. And even something as little as I'm sitting in my living room because I don't want to be upstairs and wake the beast, because my daughter's room is right next to my office. But even as something as simple as that, I am in my own home, that I have heat and it is really cold in Minnesota. I am grateful that my eyes even opened this morning, because there's a lot of people in the world who didn't. Their eyes did not open this morning. And so even just being grateful for the blessing of breath in your lungs is sometimes something that we need to appreciate. And I heard this quote a long time ago, and it recently came back up in my TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. In my TikTok. And it said, what if you woke up tomorrow with only the things that you thanked God for the day before? What would you have? And I was like, shoot, man, like, I'm always talking to him about, things I want to change, or circumstances we're going through, or whatever, that I sometimes stop to don't think to pause and thank him for the things that he's already given me, and being good stewards of this. So that's just something I wanted to, give you while you're, writing down the things that you're grateful for this morning. I'm grateful to be here with you all this morning. I'm grateful that I have the day off today so that I can get some much needed batch work done, which is the topic we're going to talk about today. And so as of October, I started a full-time job within my town, because my husband and I are looking to pay off tons of debt, and not tons, I would say. I just want to get us in a good situation when we're paying off our cars and things like that, instead of just buying stuff all the time. And I think in this industry, it's really easy for people to get caught up in, like, chasing the Joneses and wanting the things that people have. And I want to come from a place where we're starting to pay our stuff off. So I'm taking all of my Thrive money, and that is all going to pay down our debts, which is going to be such a relief. And if I do it correctly, I'm thinking by the end of the year, we should have only our mortgage left, which would be amazing. So with that being said, I started a full-time job, and I am a mother of 3 people, little people. And I have a house. I have 2 dogs. My life is busy, to say the least. I have a son that's taking his driver's test this week. My life is full of all sorts of chaos, and working a full-time job and managing a business and having a family can sometimes seem extremely overwhelming, especially if you want to make sure that you're creating quality content. And so if you're just waking up every morning and hoping that you have a strategy as far as your marketing plan goes, and I say marketing plan because we are a business, and I will say this until the cows come home, and you've probably heard me say it before, that if you want your business to pay you like a legitimate business and not just a hobby, you got to look at it as a legitimate business. This is a business. You pay taxes on it. It is a business. And I always give this analogy that, Target doesn't just wake up and that day decide this is what we're going to market today. No, they plan these things ahead of time. And that is because they understand that they need to understand their demographic. They need to make sure that they have the right graphics to appeal to their audience. They need to make sure they have the right message that's reaching people. And that takes time. And I think within this business, if you're just trying to like string stuff together the day of, it can seem overwhelming, especially if you have lots of things going on. So hopefully I can give you some tips and ideas with batching that will help you shave off time during the week and just be more thoughtful with the content that you're producing. Now, I will tell you, every single Saturday, I do have a Plan Your Week Zoom that we go by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and give content strategies and ideas that you can utilize. So please, if you have not attended and you feel like this is an area you need help with, is social media and planning it, hop on. Shannon and Star will actually be hosting this weekend because I have to work. So, but you can always catch different replays on my YouTube channel. You just search Meghan Holcomb, I'll show up. But what I want to specifically talk about is batching your content. So that's like planning your content. I want to talk specifically about batching and what that looks like, because some people are like, I don't understand what you mean by batching and how do I get ideas for things. So I usually will pick a day of the week that I see an area where I might have a little extra time. And so, for instance, today is that day, because yesterday I was meal prepping and exercising and doing all the things and cleaning my house and folding laundry. So it wasn't a good idea to batch content that day. Today will be. So what I'll do today, I'll just give you an instance. I will be making myself look presentable. Now, I do think it's important for us to showcase that we are real human beings and we don't always look put together. And I usually do that within my stories and the occasional photo where I sometimes will just be like, I think it's important to show that because the world is kind of obsessed with perfection. And I think a lot of people are getting sick of that. So I think that's important for you to show that too. But what I will do today is I will take some time where I look presentable. I'll probably change my outfit 4 or 5 times and then I'll take some photos, but not only take pictures, I'm going to take pictures in various areas within my house. So probably in my office, I'll probably take one against a blank wall or a couple against a blank wall. I'll take some where my patch is showing. Maybe I'll mix up a shake and give it to my son and take some photos with that. I will take pictures of my capsules. I will take photos outside just to give a different, scenery or whatever, and just take a bunch of them. Different poses, different areas, natural looking, some that might be a little bit more posed, switching out my outfits, changing out my earrings. And this usually takes probably about 30 minutes to an hour. And so I'll do that so that I have a plethora of photos to go through. And it's not necessarily that I'll use every single one of those photos throughout the week. It's almost like I have it on standby in case like my day gets chaotic and away from me and I don't get the opportunity to take a picture for that day, because we are selling ourselves. You are not, like, yes, we promote the product of Thrive, but we are essentially selling ourselves, because people will buy the products, but they're buying you first. So I think it's important to have some things on reel so that you're not just like going into your day at the end of the day, like, shoot, I don't have a picture. I look like a troll that lives underneath a bridge right now. And I don't have anything. So I have a whole folder labeled content within my photo album that I just throw all those pictures that I will randomly take. And sometimes it'll be like throughout the week, if I'm like, oh, I look nice today, and I'll just take a couple pictures and throw them in the content folder. So that's what I do as far as pictures go, is I just swap out a shirt, swap out pants, change my earrings, and then just take a bunch of photos, well-lit photos, so that people can see the quality of your photo, because that's important. Well-lit photos, I don't use like Snapchat filters or anything like that. Like, it's my face. So there's that piece, which having those photos on deck is really important. Now, with the ever rising popularity of short form video, so your TikToks, your reels, how do you batch produce those things? Because not everyone has time to sit there and record a video every single day, but you want to make sure that you're utilizing tools that are trending, and a tool that's trending is short form video right now. So how do you batch that? Especially when you feel like, I don't really have a lot of ideas as far as verbiage goes for my reels. Like, I don't know what to do. I will give you what I do. So I will first take probably, and please set a timer, otherwise you will get caught in the dark hole that is TikTok or Reels and just be watching other people's videos all day long. So it was set a timer on your phone for 15 to 20 minutes, I would say, and click on Reels or TikToks and scroll through. Just scroll through. If you're on Reels, I feel like it does this a lot more than on TikTok. TikTok really generalizes who you're seeing on your For You page to basically who you are. It gives you what I call an echo chamber, and that is, it's going to show you content that you have generally liked before, or that you even produced yourself. So like, let's say you like a lot of mom stuff, like you'll see a lot of mom stuff, or like, let's say that you like a lot of motivational things, like, and you're actually liking it and maybe sharing it with friends, it's going to show you a lot of that same stuff. With Reels, I've noticed that it will repeat sounds. So if you stay on a specific reel for a long period of time, so like you're watching this one and you actually stay on it instead of scroll out of it, and like, let's say there's a song attached to it, if you scroll down a couple more, it'll show you more videos with that same sound. And this is where you can notice that this is becoming a trend. Like, a lot of people are utilizing this same sound. And so what I will do is I will save that sound. So all I'm going through and doing for this 15-minute time period is going through and saving sounds that have like verbs, saving songs that seem to be trending, just saving them. That's all I'm doing. Just saving them up, saving them up, saving them up. I'm not doing anything else with it. So then after my timer goes off and maybe I have some time to actually record some stuff, again, I will change my outfit a few times and just record it. I don't necessarily know what I'm even going to talk about. I don't even know what text I'm going to use or how I'm going to spin this to be relatable to the things that I talk about. I just record myself. You can save them in your drafts. But also I recommend saving the video to your photos or like your phone, because sometimes Instagram will hate you and they're like, guess what? Today I'm just going to delete all the stuff that you have saved. And you're like, oh, wonderful, because I spent all this time saving these videos. For the songs, you just click on the song and there's like a little save thing and it'll save when you go into click in the music note. It will show like at the top it says saved and you can click on that and it'll bring up the saved sounds that you have saved. Yeah, like a bookmark ribbon. Thank you. Words are hard on Monday mornings and Saturdays. That's beside the point. So what I'll do is I'll just record a bunch of them, change my outfits, change the place where I'm standing or sitting or whatever, and just record a bunch of them, just using the different sounds that I have saved. And I'm saving these for a different day. And the reason that's important is because sometimes you're in a mode where you feel like you're creative mentally, like you're just have thoughts flowing all the time. At certain times of the day or whatever, like you have peak times where you're like, oh, that's a good idea, or something comes to your mind, then you can implement it into the reels that you have saved. So after I have all I was like, no. After I have all these reels saved, I will also have I have a notepad that is on my main homepage on my phone, so that anytime I think of something, like maybe I'm reading something and something comes to mind, or I experience something with my children and something comes to mind, I will just write it down. I just write it down. You have to do things in the moment sometimes, because if you're like me and your attention span tends to be all over the place, having that focused place where you can just go and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. So my note section is full of ideas, whether that's I find another reel that is similar to the things that I talk about and kind of twist it into my own idea or my own verbiage or my own way. I write it in there and that sort of thing too. So recording a bunch at a time, saving a bunch of sounds, then recording a bunch of videos at the same time, just swapping out a shirt, whatever. And then later on, when you have the ideas, then implementing those and then posting them. Let me just see what that comment was, because I feel like that is a really important one. How do you build the confidence of taking pictures of yourself? I feel like you just have to start doing it, and you kind of figure out certain ways that I don't know, I know angles that I have, but if you're I don't know how to take pictures of myself, or ones that are like how do people come up with poses, and how do people come up with ideas where to sit or how to stand or how to present themselves. And I was going to bring this up next, is Pinterest is my life as a content creator, because that's what we are. We're content creators. We don't share other people's content. We create our own. And so I will go into Pinterest often and I will search Instagram poses. I know it sounds really funny, but right now in Minnesota, it's winter and there's lots of snow. And if I'm wanting to, yeah, right. And if I'm wanting to get some ideas of like, what are some ways that I can take pictures in snow, I will literally search IG photos in snow. And then I have a content folder in there too, board, whatever you want to call it, where I save all those photos. So then I get ideas and then I just try different things. I can tell you right now, being in this business for almost 4 years, it'll be 4 years in May, the end of May, that my first photos I took look nothing like the pictures I take now. So I always give this advice that if you're wanting to get comfortable doing something, you just gotta jump in. It's like a pool that is maybe cold, and if you just like start putting your foot in and just leave your foot in, it's still going to be cold. If you go in little by little, like it's going to be like more painful almost if you try to just like gradually go in, as opposed to if you just jump in and let your body acclimate. It's the same thing with gaining confidence with things, is just doing it. I know that sounds like you're like, how easier said than done, but that is how I have done things. And I think we're so afraid of the opinions of other people. We're afraid that we're going to fail at things. We will let fear hold us back for a long period of time. And what I learned from the very beginning in this business is that I just have to do it. I just have to do the thing, even if I'm like, what if somebody hates me? What if no one likes my picture? What if nobody comments on it? So what? So what? I shared this video, and make sure you brush your hair. Yeah. I shared this video that I came across yesterday where this woman was in her car and she was talking about how she was going to college 5 years ago, and she decided to make a YouTube video and she posted it, and her friends and family made fun of her. They didn't support her. They said it was stupid, but she just kept going with it, and she never missed a week of making her YouTube videos for a full 5 years. And she was talking about how her net worth is now $11 million because she stuck with that thing. And sometimes it's easy for us to get wrapped up in thinking like, what are people going to think of me? But let me tell you that the times that I've been honest and open and transparent with my social media, like sometimes just showing the stuff that no one really wants to show, those are the times where I feel like I gain the most community within my following and my friends, because they realize that I'm a human too, and I'm willing to talk about and look like a human being. And I think that's important, that if you're so focused on just making sure that you look perfect all the time, you could miss those opportunities to really connect with people in a state of vulnerability, because that's how we connect as a human race, is through our experiences, the things that we talk about. And yeah, and the things that we talk about and the way that we connect with other human beings, like that, being vulnerable and just starting from a place of, like I always tell my team this, like if they fall off and they're like, I don't know how to start back, I'm like, just be honest and come back, like, and say, I stopped taking my products for a while, and I can notice a total difference in the way that how everything in my life has changed. And I think you can do the same thing with taking pictures. If you're scared, tell people that. I don't typically share a ton of photos of myself. It's usually my family, because I've been self-confident conscious for a long period of time, and I want to build my confidence. So here I am. Before I started this business, I rarely ever took pictures of myself because I was embarrassed by the state that I was in. So when I try to find photos for like before and after pictures, like it's really hard sometimes because I don't have a lot of myself. And I talked about that. I said, I never used to take pictures of myself unless it was super filtered. And it's because I was lacking confidence. Do you know how many other people can relate to that? They see a flood of people that look like they're perfect all the time. And if you're the person that comes out and steps out and says, you know what, I don't share a lot of photos with me because sometimes it's intimidating on social media, but I want to show you that you're worthy of sharing your photos too, even if you're not at a place where you want to be with your weight. Maybe you're not how you looked like in high school, but I want you to know that it's okay. Like just being honest with those things. My dog is snoring like super loud. It's distracting me. So being super honest about things, I think is the best policy always, always. So back to the Pinterest topic. Often you see people that will like share quotes, which I think is good because usually quotes are content that people will share or save or things like that. And that just opens you up to a whole new network. But a lot of times people are just utilizing pre-made photos by other people. And again, we are content creators. And I think if you can try to make your own stuff as much as possible, that's huge, because then you can tailor like a look or a color scheme to it so that every time someone sees that color, they're thinking of you automatically. So whether that's like all the quotes you share are pink, or all the quotes you share are green, or whatever your specific like color that you identify with can be. So how do you do that? So you're saving all these quotes on Pinterest that relate to your 5 things, your niche, whatever you want to call it. And you want to create that content. Where do you go? I use Canva personally. This is my personal preference. And what I will do for a period of time now, like I want to tell you when I'm doing these batch things that sometimes these aren't all done in the same day. Sometimes it's 15 minutes on a Saturday. And then the next day I'll do 15 minutes of another thing. And then another day I'll do like 30 minutes of another thing. And so what I will do is I will go to Canva and I will take these quotes that I have saved and I will just create a bunch of them at once and save them into my content folder so that I have them again on deck, that I can just populate them as I go. So there's I have a whole thing on my YouTube about Canva too that you can look at. Like I walk through it step by step. 1 second. Where do you find pictures for carousels and how many should you use? So a carousel on Instagram is multiple photos in a post. So when you see like the dots at the bottom where you can continually scroll through them, the reason that these are so important is because Instagram will repopulate different photos from the same post over and over throughout the day. So like, let's say you're using pictures of your family. Like, let's say you went to the zoo and you have a bunch of pictures of your family. It'll show your audience like you and your kid and their giraffe. And then like an hour or two later, it'll show like you and the monkey. I'm just trying to give an analogy that makes sense. But that's the reason that's so important, is because it will re-show your same stuff to different people, the same people. It'll keep popping up in their timeline, which is kind of cool. But I use carousels for multiple uses. So maybe that is, I will use it for teaching something. So like maybe like your thing is you like to cook, you could show steps to making a recipe in there, and you can use like Canva to maybe like put a picture in and then explain what you're doing, and then having people scroll through, because then they can save it and they can like refer back to it and scroll through it. Like genius, seriously. You can do it as like you're explaining something and then you're just breaking it down into multiple slides, because people have short attention spans, and if they see this paragraph like this, it can be super overwhelming, and they're like, nope, not doing it. But if you break it down into small digestible pieces, like people are more likely to consume that content because everyone has a short attention span nowadays. And or you can do a really catching hey Shannon, can you make me host for a minute so I can share my screen? Because I feel like this would be helpful.
Done.
You're the best. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I feel like this will be a really practical way for me to show you a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, can y'all see me? My phone? Yes. I can't read.
Yeah,
comments.
we can see you, Meghan.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will give you an example of, so like, here's my Instagram. These are all quotes that I took and made my own. So an example of a carousel would be like this, where people can scroll through. So like here, I have the main point and then I'm expanding on the main point over here. So like that's one way to do a carousel, and I create these in Canva and I'll show you that too. So like this one is just Bible verses that I shared, different ones. You can use like quotes, ideas. Here again, I'm expanding on an idea. I also used one for photos with my parents. It was their anniversary, so I shared photos of my parents. So that's another way that you can do it. That is what those are, and I use Canva to create them. So this is Canva. They have amazing story templates, by the way, just saying.
Do you use the free or the paid version?
I use the free version personally. They have a lot of free stuff that you can use. Like, look at these cool story templates that you can use for things. So like getting an idea and just like populating your own photos and quotes and stuff like that. Like, you never have to come up with your own ideas ever again. So what I will do is I have like this. So I have this like template up, and then I will just like swap the background. Yeah, everyone wants to see my body. You're welcome. Just swap the background and then you can change the quotes and then save it. It's so easy to do it that way. Let's go back. I also have this, which looks like a tweet, if you will. This is another one that I have where you can just put in a tweet type content. These quote ones, I'll use the same template, but I will just like change the verbiage in here. So I'm creating my own quotes. So that's Canva. There's so many different things. I highly recommend just playing around with it. I wanted to show on Reels. I'm sorry. I can quiet it. There we go. So like, let's say I like this sound. I don't, but let's say I do. Click on this, and then you just click save audio. So that's what I'll do. I'll go through, scroll, listen to the sound, and then click on the sound if I like it and save it. Just and then next. That's what I do for that. Shut up. Okay. That's what I'll do is I'll just go through, keep scrolling, saving sounds. So then when I go to create my own reel, see, like I have drafts saved. Let's say I'm going to go create a reel. You click on audio. Ooh, they changed how it looks. And then you click on saved and it shows all the ones that you've saved. And sometimes I'll go through here and like delete ones I've already used, but you would then you just click on it and it populates it in. So that's what I do for that. Trying to think of what else I can talk about on here. Oh, like my notes are like filled with ideas. like tons of ideas where either like maybe I go back to an old post I've created. I'm gonna go back to my face. Stop share. So sometimes I recycle. Okay, stop. Should I make you the host again because you're recording? Probably. If I can find you. There you are. Okay. So sometimes I repurpose posts I made years ago. Sometimes I repurpose posts I've made a week ago and just like change it around. I think we always think we have to be like reinventing the wheel, and sometimes it's just repurposing things if you feel like you don't have time. So that's what I typically do. I will save quotes that I like the ideas that I can expand on in a post. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a quote and that will be the start of my post. And then I will talk about how it relates to me or my story or whatever, or what I'm trying to help people with. Let's talk about the last thing, probably batching stories. So batching stories is important because there's a lot of people out there that just sit and watch stories all day long. That's all they do. They don't even necessarily scroll the feed even. They just sit and watch your stories, and you'll see like the secret people that will never comment on your things, on your posts. They will never like your stuff, but like, you're like, oh, but you can sit and watch my stories all day, every day. Okay, I get it. We want to make sure that we're capitalizing on that. So the way to batch stories, I think it's important for you to, yes, come on live sometimes and just talk to people, because then it gives a voice behind the face. But also sometimes it's taking a bunch of pictures of product when you have it on hand, because I get it, you guys. I know what it's like when you first start the business and maybe you don't have the income and you're not yet thriving for free, or maybe you had a bad month the month before and you're not thriving for free and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to afford products. Please, please, please talk to an upline to at least send you a sample of one of each and then create a bunch of stories with it. Do a boomerang of a capsule, do a boomerang of a shake, do a picture. A boomerang is like the repeating looping video. Do a picture here, do a picture there, do a picture of just the capsules, do a picture of the package on top of a water cup or whatever. Do, you know, a patch here, a patch there, a patch there, a patch outside of your, not on your body, a patch on your body. Because I know there's a lot of people like, well, I don't have product to take photos. Not an excuse. You will find one person. If you keep climbing the ladder up, 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 you can go into your back office and you can click on my upline. If your upline doesn't have product to give you, the next person was, the next person will, the next person will. So go up until you find somebody that's willing to send you even just one day of all 3 steps. And then take pictures like crazy with those 3 steps in your stories so that you have something that you can use every single day to market with. Other things that I batch for stories would be what I call an unfold. I probably should have just showed that, but I'll just talk about it real quick because I know we're running short on time. An unfold story is like a photo that talks about like your specific story or like what you're trying to accomplish in multiple slides. So it like unfolds the story, and that's why it's called an unfold. So like, let's say you have the picture of you and you're talking about what your life used to look like. It will be like one quote, and then it'll add another on the bottom, add another on the bottom, add another on the bottom. And the way you do it is just type the whole thing up, delete one of them, save, delete the next one, save, delete the next one, save. Anyways. So doing those ones I think is important too, because it allows you to explain things without having to talk for like 150 slides, which people will get so disinterested in. So like I do ones that are for the business. So I'll talk about like what the business is about in those slides, or I will talk about the 3 steps. So like, here's the first step in one post, in one picture. Here's the next step in the next picture. Here's the last step. Here's a bunch of before and afters. So saving those and having those and then repurposing them. Again, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, just repurpose those same photos, like do it once every other week and have a couple on hand. So that's what I do for batching stories. I try to show as much as I can, like what I'm doing throughout my day too, because I think it just allows people to get to know you a little bit better. And sometimes it's dumb stuff, like my dog snoring on the on the chair. Like the other day, I was trying to get ready for the Saturday morning Zoom. I'm like, me trying to prepare for a meeting. My dog snores like a large man. Like, people think that stuff is funny. It doesn't even have to be like about your products or that you look perfect. It can be like the dumb stuff that happens in your day that just makes you relatable to other people. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with batching. Shannon, do you have anything that you want me to expand on?
I'm personally good. You answered the questions I had. If anybody has any questions for Megan, now's the time to unmute and ask them. Do not be shy.
Or you can pop it in the comments too.
Jessica, unmute it.
I just, I don't have a question, but I do want to say that I've noticed that I can use the same picture like 2 months later. I mean, obviously not like a big one, like a vacation picture, but like a picture of my cat or a picture of my DFT. Nobody's going to know if you reuse a picture.
Mm-hmm. Amen, sis. I can tell you that people are like, oh, she used that photo before. They don't pay that much attention. They don't. They really don't. And again, like if I'm on vacation and stuff, sometimes I will reuse those photos. So yeah, stories only post for 24 hours. So you really want to make sure that you're capitalizing on that. You can always go into your stories archive and look and see who's viewed your stories or who voted on your polls or whatever. Please use polls for random stuff, as well as like if people are interested, because some people, they'll just be afraid to message you, but they're willing to answer a poll. So I will use polls for like dumb things, like use this slider to tell me if you can relate, or use this, or yes, that's me too, or nah, I've never had that problem. Like just dumb things like that. Because
I did a poll yesterday, Megan, of dishwasher or hand washing dishes. It blew the hell up because it was like something as simple as that: hand dishwashing or dishwasher.
Uh-huh.
It's stuff like that. And then like my stories grew, like my views.
Yep. Because
not complaining.
Engagement like that, Facebook or Instagram will push your story to the front because they're like, oh, people are actively engaging with this. Let's show more people that. So usually I'll try to do it within context. I don't just like randomly throw up a poll. I'll be like doing something and then be like, what is your experience with this? Or like if I'm washing dishes and I'm like, I hate dishes so much, like who else can relate to that? Do you hand wash or do you have a dishwasher? What was I gonna say? Yeah, let me just pop through the chat real quick in case we have, for our shy friends.
While you're looking at that really quick, I just wanted to share a tip with everybody that I shared on Saturday. I got it from one of the leaders on a one-on-one Zoom. And with the notes section in your phone, if you don't have one, you can download one for free. When you're going through something, jot down things about that in your notes. People love raw and real emotion. When you try to post about it later, you've forgotten the emotion, and people are going to know that. So definitely try to jot down the notes of what you're feeling when you're going through it.
Yep, that is such a good point. You can literally text yourself. Yeah, such a good point. Is there a way to do a long version video batching and post it to look like a live? I feel like I wouldn't on Facebook or Instagram, because I feel like YouTube is built for long form video, and that people will visit YouTube if they want to watch a long form video, but they will not watch it on Instagram or Facebook typically now, because Reels is a thing and TikTok is a thing, and people seem to be liking that a lot more, because again, our attention spans are like next to nothing nowadays, and That's just what I've noticed, because I used to get anywhere between 300 and 500 views on a live video, and now I get like 100. So I was like, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time doing all these live videos. I think they're important every once in a while. If I'm not getting, like, why waste your time on that sort of thing if it's not getting the response you like? You know what I mean? I think we got to be smart, especially if you're somebody that's super busy and you have, kids and a job and family and the business and all the things. You got to be smart with your time. And you guys, if you are spending too much time every day, like scrolling and commenting on other thrivers and watching TikTok for 3 hours, trust me, I'm totally guilty of that too, or reels or like whatever, you're not utilizing the tools as tools. You're using them as a form of entertainment. And the way to separate yourself is to start utilizing Facebook and Instagram and TikTok as tools as opposed to entertainment devices all the time. Now, that doesn't mean like you can't go and like scroll for a little while and enjoy to like even get to know your audience or whatever. I think that's important too, but set yourself parameters, because again, if you're busy, content creation is just a portion of what we do. I mean, it's one of the most important ones because that's the society we live in now, but you still need to make time to engage with your people. You still need to make time to comment on groups and message and follow up with people, because Messenger is where you actually close the sale and actually keep the sale. Social media is really just about new acquisition meaning new customers, new promoters, getting people attracted to what you're doing. That's why it's called like attraction marketing, is because you're attracting people. So if you're spending so much time focusing on only your content and you're not doing like the behind the scenes work, that could be one of the reasons why you're not seeing a lot of engagement on your stuff, because you're not showing the love to people. So why would you ever expect to get it in return? And that's why you might not see a lot of conversion from content to actual messaging back and forth, is because you're not spending the time building relationships with people. That is just as crucial as social media. I feel like people put this like large emphasis on social media, which it is important to do it the right way, but then they're not doing the stuff on the behind the scenes that is actually going to convert your social media. You need to be building relationships. You need to be engaging with people. You need to be getting new followers and new friends. And you can get new friends through your content. Yes, especially on Reels. But one of the ways that you're going to do that is by following hashtags and commenting on people for a period of time, whether that's 10 or 15 minutes a day while you're on the toilet or sitting in bed, or whenever you have a free moment eating your lunch. I don't know, but you need to make sure you're doing those things. Otherwise, all this content creation is in vain. If you're just hoping and praying that you have a moment where you go viral, it might not ever happen, and you might shoot yourself in the foot. So I just want to put that caveat on too. Like, as important as it is for us to create content, it cannot be the only thing that you're focusing on. You got to be focusing on the people you currently have, the samples you got going on, messaging people, building relationships with your followers, because that's how you can get more engagement. That's how you can build trust with people, and then they will come to you. So anything else, Shannon?
Thank you very much. I loved everything. If nobody else has any questions, I think she covered it all. We can go kick ass on Monday. I mean, arse, but whatever.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
Heidi, real quick. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're
I just I just wanted to let you know that I heard a little tip. It was really hot last year. I learned to put a little new post graphic over your post that you shared to your story. And I heard just recently that this person said, don't do that because people are not going to spend the time clicking on the new post to go read your post. Don't cover up your content. In other words, just go ahead and reveal it. And
I will,
also,
yeah.
if you do a cool post or do a cool Zoom or a reel, share it to your stories, but then also share the caption that you write, the beautiful words, share those on your stories too, because people are lazy. So those were two handy little things that I, don't make your people work for your content.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to expand on that. If you're sharing a reel to your stories, that counts as a view if somebody's watching it. So why would you ever cover it up, first of all? And it almost feels like you're trying to do a bait and switch. Like, oh, I have a secret. Like you have to click on my thing to see it. So what I will do, I never cover up my stuff ever, haven't in a long time. I will put, like, if I do create a post, like I did this, and I mean, you can use my story for reference. Like I shared it to my stories and then I put a little blurb about what it's about. And it's usually like a question. I try to like start my stuff with a question. So people like are like, ooh, yeah. So like for that one, I can't remember exactly what I put. Like, how are you taking care of your gifts is the question that I put as like the comment on my shared post. So yeah, don't cover it up. Don't make it, you can put like the new on the side if you want, but it almost feels like, and I feel this way too, like you're like, oh, I don't even want to, like you just click through it and it's like you're just trying to get me to click on your thing. It's like, what is that? Clickbait. So open transparency and openness, transparency is always the best policy. I think always 100%. Never pretend to be something you're not. Be real. Just show the post, whatever. If people click on it, they click on it. So thank you for saying that, Heidi, because that was a very good point. Anything else? I think we're done.
We are going to be done. I will get the replay set up in the Dream Team as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Megan. I really appreciate you.
I
I
love you
can't
guys.
wait to see you bring some topics to the future. Other than that, everybody go crush your Monday. Have a
Hell yeah.
great day.
Bye.